Hello everyone. This story is about, what if Naruto was raised by the ANBU and fall in love with Ino? He is very strong and smart, being a fuinjutsu genius and trained by the ANBU commander Ryo. Please like, share and subscribe for more amazing stories like this one. Now let's start. For now, we are finished with your physical conditioning. Naruto stood tall and straight as he silently referred to Commander Ryu, staring at the imposing dragon mask as the man spoke. Every inch of his body was in pain, all his muscles burning in shreds, his vision fading, and his mind pulsated as if threatening to implode. Still, he stood strong and proud, as he was trained to be. He had no mask of his own yet, but Naruto was an ANBU member, through and through. We have reached the peak of what your body could achieve, given your young age anymore, and we risk injury, and most likely diminishing returns, explained the commander, crossing his arms in thought. The physical strain of our regular training routine will suffice in maintaining this physical standard. We may return to conditioning once every few months, depending on how fast your body matures. Naruto nodded. I understand, sir. Good, Ryu continued. We can now move on to the next step of your training. I am ready, Commander. Ryu nodded. Physical conditioning was the first part of your training. It is to simply prepare your body for the intensity and vicissitude of what is to come. You have shown promise, beyond my expectation, and Hokage-sama has allowed me to further accelerate this training program. A scroll was unsealed in the commander's hand and he tossed it to the boy. Which is why I am giving you this. A new jutsu? Naruto asked as he held the scroll. This is an A-ranked forbidden ninjutsu. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Naruto's eyes widened as he held the scroll tighter. This is the original version of the Kage Bunshin, invented and personally used by the Nidaime Hokage. Unlike the previous variant you were using, the original has no physical limit. This will allow the user to create as many clones as they want, with the only risk being chakra depletion. As previously discussed, this will not be an issue for you. Naruto stared at the scroll, before looking up at his sensei. How many clones am I allowed to make right now? With your chakra reserves and chakra control now, you will be able to create upwards of 500 clones. For the first time in your life, you will feel drained and chakra depleted. He stepped closer to the boy, sighing. Although this jutsu has no limit, I will set a limit at 500. You are not allowed to exceed that number until given further permission. Understood? Yes, sir, Naruto nodded, clutching the scroll in excitement. We will work within the upper limit of that range. Ryu sighed again, perhaps in worry, Naruto thought. Every day, you will aim to create exactly 365 clones. It will take some practice to precisely create that many, but you will grow accustomed to it. This number makes it easy for me to track the amount of training accumulated. This way 1 day of training equates to 1 year of training. He pointed over to the far side of the training field, at the large table laid out. To help us count, I've ordered exactly 365 training bands, color-coded into 5 colors. This is meant to compartmentalize your clones, splitting them into 5 groups of 73, each group being able to learn on their own. Am I to start my elemental training? You are, replied the commander with a nod. I expect you will only have 1 chakra nature to start, which will occupy 1 group of clones. A second group of clones will work on your second strongest chakra nature, which I don't expect you to have in the beginning. The third group of clones will focus on more advanced chakra control, which you will need as your chakra reserves grow disproportionately faster than your body. The fourth group of clones will focus on taijutsu. We will work on finding your personal style and utilize this new physical prowess you've achieved. Naruto nodded along, almost overwhelmed by the quick expansion of his training regimen. As for the fifth group of clones and yourself, I will leave with you. The boy looked up in surprise. Ultimately, I am focusing on teaching you the basics, building your foundation. Your future specialty, your main focus, I'll need you to discover on your own. Whether you want to focus on fuinjutsu, kenjutsu, or any combinations of any of them all, use these clones and decide for yourself. Naruto saluted the commander. Permission to begin training immediately? Granted. Learning the Tajukage Bunshin no Jutsu was easy enough. There was scarcely any difference from the variant, in fact it had fewer hand signs and was entirely dependent on chakra reserves. With Naruto's new level of chakra control, and with him growing accustomed to using Kage Bunshin, it only took the boy an hour to adequately perform the jutsu. With a cloud of smoke, the training ground was filled with his clones, all dressed in white and black armor stretching to the far side of the room. Each clone took a training band for themselves, with at least a few dozen clones left without. He had made over 400 clones. But before long, 365 clones stood before the original and Commander Ryu, separated by color of band, all staring at them. The commander made 2 clones of his own and they stood before the blue-banded clones and the black-banded clones. Blue-banded clones will follow me to the ANBU training field 3. Announced one of the commander's clones, you are going to be working on chakra control. Some clones muttered about choosing the wrong color as they all sped from the room, racing down the halls in a stampede. Black-banded clones will follow me to training field 8, commanded another of Ryu's clones. We will work on taijutsu. Again, another stampede of Naruto stormed through the underground halls of the ANBU barracks. The original commander turned to the original Naruto, handing him a piece of paper, and Naruto knew exactly what it was. He had been looking forward to this ever since his Ji-chan had explained to him the concept behind elemental training. He quickly took the chakra paper and held it tightly between his fingers, looking up at his sensei for permission. Ryu nodded. Go ahead, channel your chakra through the paper. Yes, sir, he muttered, looking down at the piece of paper. The piece of paper immediately split in half, before burning to ash. Naruto watched in widened eyes, surprised at the outcome. He looked up at the commander, but the man's eternal dragon mask blocked his expression. Though his silence spoke volumes, and Naruto waited in excited silence for Ryu to speak. You have a natural affinity to 2 chakra natures, which is significantly rare for someone your age. Fire and wind, a powerful combination. If you can utilize both elements, you will be able to fight effectively in close, mediate, and long-range battles. Wind can also bolster fire, potentially doubling your destructive capabilities. Naruto shook in excitement and could barely keep himself from cheering. This is a surprise, but a welcomed one. Making another 2 clones, Ryu sent them to the red-banded clones and white-banded clones. Even the colors match well. Naruto smiled with a nod. Red-banded clones will follow me to training field 1, came the command of Ryu's clone. We will be working on fire elemental chakra. White-banded clones will come with me to training field 2, said the other clone. We will work on wind chakra. The 2 groups of grinning and cheering clones sped out of the room, flooding the hallways again. Naruto chuckled at the scene, almost wanting to follow them. He had wanted to learn about elemental manipulation for years, but now he had to wait until his clones dispersed in order to know. Fire and wind. He had wondered for so long about his chakra nature, and now he had 2. He couldn't help but wonder what his clones would be learning. Chibi, came the voice of the original commander. I leave this to you now. The yellow-banded clones are yours to command, and you can use this training field here. You may choose to focus on whatever you want. You may change subjects and switch fields. Feel free to explore your options. As long as you are learning, whether it be new subjects or just about yourself, it is not a waste of time. He crossed his arms again. I must report to Hokage-sama. My clones will disperse your clones when they're finished, so take your time here and I'll let you decide on when to stop. I understand, Commander. He bowed as Ryu vanished. Thank you, sir. Naruto faced his remaining clones and smirked. Well, I think you all know what we'll be doing. Hi. Naruto had been exhausted before, or so he had thought. In the boy's short life, he had been training for years. He had sparred countless times with his siblings, been taught all sorts of interesting and cool techniques, and had even trained a few times with the Hokage himself. He thought he understood exhaustion after all he had been through, but those were but hiccups compared to actual exhaustion. He felt empty. You shouldn't push yourself too hard, Naruto-chan. Naruto could barely hear the sweet voice of his Yugane as he slumped against the dinner table. He had anticipated some fatigue and had the foresight to wait until he was with his siblings in the cafeteria before his clones dispersed, but what came was a mountain of pain. While waiting for his food, his eyes rolled behind his head and he briefly passed out on the table. He woke up to the entire room filled with his concerned siblings around him, all keeping a safe distance in order to give him some breathing room. Only Yugane and Kake and I were beside him. This is the first time I've ever seen you like this, Chibi. He felt Kakashi ruffle his hair and he tried to sit up. Even pushing himself up was straining, but he managed to sit up with a groan. He managed a small smile for his siblings, his smiling growing at the sight of them all sighing in relief. Most of them returned to their seats, but still looked over at him concerned. He waved them off, returning to sipping on his juice through a straw. Finishing his cup with a slurp, he sighed. "I'm okay," he muttered, his vision clearing more. "It's getting easier. Commander Ryu told me of your new training method." Kakashi rested his chin on his hand, leaning on the table. "Quite ingenious, but practically suicidal for the vast majority of people. I honestly wasn't sure if you could take it, but I guess I was wrong. I still think this is too reckless." Yugao pulled Naruto closer and kissed his hair. "Naruto-chan is still a child. He may have potential, but there's no need to push him this much." Naruto rested against Yugao's shoulder. "I'm okay, Nae-chan. I was too excited and pushed myself more than I should have. I'm just not used to using so many clones. As soon as I get used to it, I would be able to brace myself for the recoil." Yugao sighed. "You passed out, Naruto-chan. You never get tired, and you pass out. This is a dangerous amount of fatigue for one day of training. It's technically 1 year of training." Kakashi I smiled at the pair. Chibi did 1 year's worth of training in 1 day and only pass out for a few seconds. That's quite an accomplishment already. Not to mention that his chakra levels are already replenishing. He tapped his headband. "I made sure to check with my Sharingan." Yugao sighed again as Naruto gave a weak grin. "Give him a few more hours, and he'll be bouncing off walls again." "Yep," chirped the boy, smiling up at his sister. "Don't worry, Nae-chan." She kissed his head again. "Fine, but I'm watching you. Once Mizu, Nana, and Shiki come home, they'll be on you like hawks, too, so you better not take it too far again." Naruto nodded. "I promise I won't." "How do you feel?" asked Kakashi. "Your exhaustion, I understand, but what about your memories? Have you organized them yet?" "Most of them." Naruto grunted a little in pain. There were a lot of clones, but they were only working on 5 things. Their memories pretty much pieced themselves together immediately. Kakashi nodded as Yugao pulled the boy closer. "There's still a bit of overlapping and confusion, but Commander Ryu taught me how to meditate before bed to organize my thoughts. I should be able to clear my head tonight." "Good, because the commander will have you do this again tomorrow." Yugao winced. "Every day?" "Every weekday," answered Naruto. "I get the weekends to myself." Kakashi chuckled. "Of course, not even the commander will get in the way between you and your Ino-chan." Naruto's eyes widened at the mention of his best friend. "I almost forgot. Is Tenzo and I back yet? I need his help." "Yeah, Team Ro all returned last night," answered Kakashi, his brow raised curiously. "What do you need from him?" Naruto grinned. "I am working on a project for myself. It involves a tree, so I really need Tenzo and I guess if he's not here," muttered the ANBU captain as he looked around the room. "Then he's in his room. Probably trimming his bonsai again. I'll go find him." Before Yugao could stop him, his stomach growled loudly. He groaned and slumped. "I'll go find him after dinner." "Nae-chan," he whined, "what is taking so long?" Yugao giggled and hugged him close. "It's dinner rush, Naru." Naruto found himself missing the Akimichi Onigiri a lot. Another day passed and Naruto was once again groaning in pain. This time he had dispersed the clones 1 group at a time, leaving 5 minutes rest in between each group. The memories no longer overlapped and they all organized themselves almost immediately. His body was still strained, but his mind and vision were clear. A few more days of this, he should be able to recover normally. A few more years of this, he might be ready to become Jonin. Leaving his aspirations aside, Naruto grunted as he stepped into the evening air, the orange glow of the slowly setting sun warming his exhaustion. "Are you sure you can walk that far?" "Yes, Tenzo and I." Naruto looked up at his brother with a grin. "This is nothing compared to yesterday. I can carry you if you're too tired." He nearly pouted. "I'm not a little kid anymore." Tenzo chuckled. "You used to beg me for piggyback rides." He sighed and shook his head. "Kids grow up so fast. Just come on, Nichan." Gritting his teeth, Naruto ignored the soreness and sped off, Tenzo following coolly beside him. His body was working overtime to recover his chakra reserves and stamina, but he felt it working as he jumped from rooftop to rooftop. The village was becoming familiar to him and he no longer had to pause to figure out where he was, and very soon they were at his usual park. It was not nearly as busy on a weekday evening, but there were still plenty of people around. Slipping through the shadows, Naruto maneuvered himself behind every prying eye, Tenzo effortlessly doing the same behind his brother. The two ANBU trained shinobi, not stopping until reaching the tall oak tree. Here we are. Naruto panted as he happily pointed at the tall oak. This is the tree. Tenzo shrugged and nodded. Yeah, this is a strong tree. He placed his hand on the trunk, old, too. At least 100 years old. This tree has been here since the founding of the village. He smiled down at his brother, might have even been created by the Shodai himself. Some sources say the Shodai had a certain propensity for oaks. Wow, really? Naruto looked odd. Can you feel the Shodai's chakra in it? Tenzo chuckled and shook his head. No, it doesn't work like that. This is just a regular tree now. It might be tougher than trees found outside of Konoha, but just a tree. He grinned. So this is the place, huh? Your little personal home with your girlfriend. Naruto blushed. She's my best friend, Nichan. Ah, yes, Tenzo nodded sagely. She's just a girl who is your friend. Now please help me. Tenzo rubbed Naruto's head, chuckling at his pout. Fine. He cracked his fingers and looked around. I'm in my civilian clothes right now, so stand guard and make sure no one sees. He turned to the tree. It's not crowded here. But we can never be too careful. Naruto nodded, stretching his senses to his limit. There are a few people around, but they are far enough away. None of them are walking to this direction, he muttered, his eyes closed as he searched with his chakra. We are about a kilometer away from the park. So the few people there shouldn't see us in any detail. Tenzo nodded, good. Naruto watched as his brother jumped into the tree, blending perfectly in the green and brown. Dutifully, the boy turned to guard the area, his chakra still searching frantically around them for any activity. Thankfully, there was none, but he felt his brother's chakra spike. Still focusing his sensory abilities, Naruto turned to watch his brother work. His eyes widened in awe as he watched the branches of his favorite tree become malleable. Some branches grew and stretched until they attached together, merging into a structure. It grew and expanded under the canopy, forming into sides and frames. In under 10 seconds, hidden under the large and thick canopy, was a large treehouse. Naruto smiled brightly at the sight. It was beautiful. Using the central trunk as a pillar, the house formed around it and connected nearly all surrounding branches together to form a solid and flat floor, perfectly square around the trunk. Walls sprouted along the sides, made of polished wood, shiny and smooth, reaching nearly the top of the canopy before connecting back to the trunk. His brother was not finished, as a large circle was cut from each side of the 4 walls, making 4 windows for natural light. Then a base door was cut into the floor, wooden hinges allowing it to open and close with a wooden lock to lock. The door was made perpendicular to the trunk of the tree, where slowly, a ladder pattern was cut into the thick bark, forming an easy access way to the door. In a puff of smoke, Tenzo appeared next to Naruto, arms crossed. What do you think? I could have made it fancier if I had more time, but it should do for a playhouse. It's amazing, muttered Naruto softly, looking up at his brother with a smile. You're amazing, Nichan. Tenzo chuckled and ruffled his hair. Anything for my little brother. I can't believe you made it so fast. Making it is the easy part. Tenzo hummed and thought, how do you plan to hide it? It can't be a secret fort if everyone can see and find it. Naruto grinned and revealed a new seal on his arm, this one on the top of his forearm in the shape of the Konoha leaf. Tapping it, he unsealed a stack of tags, all freshly drawn and sealed. I've been using my personal training time to create these new seals for the treehouse. It took me and all 73 of my yellow-banded clones 2 whole days to complete. Tenzo sighed, Naruto, you're supposed to be working on serious things, not things to impress your girlfriend with. She's my best friend. Naruto exclaimed with a grunt, and these are very useful in battle situations. Really? Asked Tenzo, with a coy smirk, what do they do? Come on, I'll show you. Looking around before moving, they ran up the tree and into the treehouse. Naruto marveled at the intricacy of the completely wooden door mechanic and was practically bouncing off the wooden walls in excitement. It was even more amazing on the inside. Perfectly smooth and polished wood on all sides with a birdcage pattern forming on the walls leading up to the tip ceiling. Even the flooring matched the hardwood floors of their living quarters at the barracks, not to mention that the entire house smelled of delightful vanilla. This is amazing. When I retire from ANBU, I can be a carpenter. Tenzo smirked, but never mind that. Hurry up and show me your new seals. Okay, Naruto started as he held his first seal between his fingers. This here is just your standard silencing seal. He attached one seal to each of the 4 walls. So no matter how loud it gets in here, so one will hearing anything on the outside. Tenzo stifled a laugh. Yep, standard practice. What's not standard about this is I will also attach a sound seal on the outside of the treehouse. I made this originally to prank Torwenai for his snoring, but this is more practical. Tenzo chuckled, but continued to listen. This seal takes the recorded sound sealed within it and plays it out like a speaker. I've recorded ambient sound around this park for an hour. It will loop and replay the same sound over and over again, so not only will no one hear anything inside the house, but the house will also not block any of the usual sounds people would hear under this tree. Okay, you think thoroughly. This next one doesn't really have a name yet, but it's meant to slowly release a scent into the air. Tenzo looked intrigued and stepped closer. You can see that this one is double-sided. On one side, the seal is designed to seal inside it the scent of whatever it is attached to. Each side is connected to each other. And the other side takes the sealed scent and replicates it in mass quantities before releasing it into the air. Naruto reached out one of the 4 windows and attached the seal on the outside of the wall. This is a white oak tree, so it smells faintly of vanilla and is earthy. By attaching it to the outside, it will absorb the natural scent of the wood and expand it out, providing a cover for the people inside the house. This could be useful under very specific circumstances, Tenzo admitted, like if you were hunted by blind ninja hounds. I'm not finished, Nichan, cried the boy, making his brother laugh. We've so far blocked out sound and smell. Next, we will block out our chakra signatures. Naruto smirked as Tenzo raised a brow. This is what I call a chakra expansion seal. It attaches to a chakra signature and enlarges its signature. I made this a long time ago, but it's not useful at all in combat situations, so I forgot about it. What I didn't figure out was that everything in nature has chakra flowing through them, including trees. Okay, muttered Tenzo as he watched Naruto reach out the window again and attach the tag to the tree. This seal will attach itself and leach into the chakra network of the tree, greatly amplifying its signature. It doesn't make the chakra stronger or anything, but it expands the tree's natural chakra aura significantly. Normally, the tree's natural chakra aura would only cover itself around its branches, but now, I've expanded it to cover everything under its canopy, effectively hiding our chakra signatures. Tenzo hummed, I guess this could fool some novice sensors, but against more advanced users, it would still stand out too much. And if a Hyuga would see it with their Byakugan, they'd see an abnormally large tree, which would also stand out. True, but this is just the start. Naruto grinned, the second last seal of the day, this is the one I spent the last 2 days making. Tenzo chuckled, let's see it. Here it is, a portable genjutsu generator. The boy smirked as Tenzo stepped closer to look. I've always wondered if I could ever use genjutsu with my chakra reserves. A few days ago, I realized that I actually don't have to cast the genjutsu myself, but seal it within a seal. How so? We cast genjutsu by projecting our chakra in a very specific and precise way into an enemy's chakra network. This complexity is usually done by hand signs and very precise chakra control, which I found I can easily replicate on paper. Naruto held his seal in his hand, and it was much larger than the rest, and was filled with inscriptions Tenzo didn't recognize. What you see here is the hand signs for the first half of the genjutsu, Megan, Jubaku Satsu layered in seal script. If I send chakra through this tag, which will only take a fixed amount of chakra, only enough for the jutsu, and channel it through these layers, I am essentially forming and molding the chakra as if I am forming the hand signs. Tenzo's eyes widened, this seal will then cast this genjutsu on anyone who looks at it, but I thought that wasn't good enough. The seal is small and not eye-catching, but there is a way around it, a way to supplement it. What I can do is connect this seal with the other seals I placed around this place by chakra string. By connecting it to the scent seal and the sound seal, I can make anyone who smells or hears any of my seals experience this genjutsu. He smirked. Even better is the chakra expansion seal. By connecting this genjutsu to the expanded chakra of the tree, the entire tree becomes the visual conduit of the genjutsu, meaning that anyone looking at this tree would experience the genjutsu. Naruto, whispered Tenzo, jaw slightly dropped. Of course, this particular genjutsu isn't dangerous. It will only cast an illusion of what this tree used to look like, so most people who would walk by, whether they see, smell or hear anything coming from this tree, they will fall under my genjutsu. Naruto smiled proudly. Individually, these seals aren't very useful, but when I combine all of them together like this, it becomes a multi-layered security system. Started Tenzo, how long can these seals last? On their own, not very long, only a couple of hours. If I'm in the treehouse, I can easily refill the chakra inside the seals myself, but if I'm away, they won't last long. This is amazing. Naruto grinned. Oh, I'm not done. My last seal of the day. The chakra battery. Tenzo knelt down to look, staring closely at another large seal. This one is by far the simplest, but it completes the seal. You are looking at a simple explosive tag, just with a different outlet. A regular explosive tag stores chakra, usually Keton chakra, and releases it all in one instant, causing an explosion. This one stores general chakra, no nature specified, and is altered to release the chakra in a controlled, steady flow. Naruto placed it on the ground next to the genjutsu generator. By connecting this to the genjutsu generator and the other seals, the battery will feed its chakra into them, essentially increasing the entire system's operational time to over a day. Of course, it depends on how much chakra I seal into the battery, but for me, it's just a very small amount. Tenzo only looked on in shock, making Naruto smile. Now, let's activate all of them. Forming a hand sign, Naruto flared his chakra and activated all his seals, all connected to each other by chakra string. The genjutsu generator was attached to the floor of the treehouse, the battery right next to it, both attached by chakra strings that led to each silencing seal, sound seal, scent seal, and chakra expansion seal. All glowed with a soft blue as they activated, casting the complete illusion of the senses. With this on, Ino-chan and I can do whatever we want in here and no one will know. Tenzo stared down at his brother, wondering if his desire to have privacy with his girlfriend seriously made him invent one of the most versatile, ingenious, possibly life-saving seal system Konoha had ever seen. With this system, camping out in the open during missions would no longer be an issue. Entire buildings could be hidden with it. It was a simple concept, just hiding the plain sight. More importantly, the fact that Naruto was able to recreate the molding effects of hand signs in his seals, effectively allowing him to seal and release jutsu by tags. This could possibly revolutionize Konoha's entire arsenal. It was too early to say, but with years still remaining in Naruto's training, he could expand and perfect these seals. This could give Konoha a huge advantage over the other great nations. So, what do you think, Ni-chan? The boy had a huge grin on his face. Do you think Ino-chan will like it? Tenzo could only stare at Naruto and wonder what other inventions his brother's little girlfriend could inspire. Sarutobi Hiruzen stared at the gathered group in his office, puffing on his pipe as they all silently awaited his address. The old man's typical morning had taken an odd turn when ANBU Commander Ryu and ANBU Team Ro requested his audience. Their urgency had made Hiruzen expect the worst. Perhaps an invasion was imminent or another Bija had come to attack Konoha. The pressure and anxiety he felt at that moment reminded him of just how old he had become. Thankfully, however, they come bearing good news. Naruto is clearly developing faster than we had anticipated, spoke the Hokage, breaking the early silence. Given his natural inclination towards fuinjutsu, I had expected some quick mastery of old arts, but his innovation is surprising. Looking down at the scroll containing his grandson's new invention, he softly smiled. This has tremendous potential. Tenzo nodded. Indeed, Hokage-sama. When Naruto showed me his seals last night, it wasn't anything special or out of the ordinary, but his combination of them created possibly one of the most useful security systems ever made. This will significantly decrease the risk of field work, added Kakashi. It's basically a portable cloaking mechanism. It blocks out most of the senses and even defends with a genjutsu. There are not many enemies out there who could outmaneuver something like this. The captain paused in thought. Not to mention that Naruto's original purpose for this system was to hide a single tree, so he chose only to use a single part of a weak genjutsu. If he were to use a more lethal or debilitating genjutsu, this system would be devastating. Indeed, there can be many practical uses for this new invention. Commander Ryu stood beside the Hokage, looking down at his student's scroll. One could be imprinted on every wall portion that surrounds Konoha, protecting every attempt of attack. Not to mention every gate in and out of the village. This can easily replace our current security system. Given the system's portable nature, added Tenzo, we should also consider arming our field agents with it. There are plenty of missions we have lined up that could definitely benefit from it. Sarutobi nodded. I agree with all of you. Then should we have Naruto work to replicate more of this system? Asked Kakashi. Not yet, answered the Hokage, this is the prototype, I'm sure Naruto, given more time, could improve on it even more. Perhaps instead of connecting the different seals by chakra string, he could condense it into a multi-layered tag. That way it will show the least possible amount of information about the system upon the surface of the tag, making it less likely to be stolen by spies. The Hokage leaned forward, puffing his pipe. Security measures should also be put in place in case the system falls into enemy hands. A failsafe should be installed, one separated from a Konoha shinobi, it should be able to self-destruct. Give the boy a few more days, said Commander Ryu, with his clones and excitement, I'm sure he'll be able to make the necessary changes. Hiruzen nodded, I have the utmost faith in Naruto. Yuga nodded, softly smiling. Ko chuckled and nodded along. Now, onto the main point of discussion, started the Hokage again, while this system is brilliantly made. It is not the most important discovery Naruto stumbled onto. Everyone was silent as the Hokage continued. We must see where the true potential lies in this new development. He puffed on his smoke before continuing. Naruto has somehow developed a way to recreate the chakra molding effect of hand signs within a single seal. That has never been done before, not even by the Uzumaki clan. This is what will have far-reaching ripples in Konoha, perhaps the world. Kakashi grunted in acknowledgement as his leader continued. Naruto has stumbled upon a practical way to store jutsu into a seal tag. Using similar principles in this system, Naruto can potentially seal any ninjutsu or genjutsu inside of a tag and release it on command. The explosive tag was once considered to be the most effective of simple tags, but this will make the explosive tag become obsolete. Indeed, muttered Kakashi, imagine unleashing A-ranked ninjutsu or genjutsu using only one tag. No hand signs required, no expended chakra. It can even be thrown by attaching it to a kunai or be laid as a trap. This will potentially give a huge advantage to Konoha. He closed his eye in thought, creating these tags will probably require a tremendous amount of chakra and time, but once created, it can be carried around as a regular ninja tool. Using these tags don't require chakra, so we would have essentially doubled or tripled the arsenal and battle life of our shinobi. Everyone would be able to utilize all 5 chakra natures in addition to perhaps any genjutsu. Kami, muttered Tenzo, this will change everything. Commander, started the Hokage, it is imperative that we have Naruto write down the exact method of recreating the effect of hand signs on paper. This is an advantage over the other nations that we cannot afford to lose. Once I have it, I will have it sealed into the Uzumaki scroll of sealing. Hokage nodded to the portrait of the Shodai Hokage. It is something the Shodai and Uzumaki Midosama created. It records down every sealing method currently in possession of Konoha. It even contains remnant of the old Uzumaki clan knowledge, and it can be known as the single most important cradle for fuinjutsu in existence. Team Rose members all reeled in surprise. Hokage-sama, this is very sensitive information. The commander turned to his leader, are you sure you want everyone in this room to know? Yes, answered the old man, I trust everyone in this room. Looking at Kakashi, Tenzo, Yugao, and Ko, he smiled. All of you here watched Naruto grow up, and I know you all love him as your own kin. I am trusting you all with his future and the future of Konoha. Team Ro saluted and bowed, we will guard Naruto with our lives, Hokage-sama, just as we always have, answered Kakashi for his team. Good, which is why I am sure this will not leave this room. The Sandaime Hokage looked at Kakashi, this scroll of sealing was left to Uzumaki Kushina after Midosama's death. Minato and Kushina had both studied its contents, but they both died before even going through half of it. He sighed. This is why I had hoped Naruto would inherit the Uzumaki clan's talent in fuinjutsu. When he comes of age or upon the time he becomes Jonin, he will inherit this scroll. Commander Ryu nodded. I have absolute faith that Naruto will be able to finish what his parents started. Absolutely, Hokage-sama, added Kakashi. Huh. The Hokage smiled at the group. Naruto has already added to it. Not only will I expect him to master the scroll's contents, I also expect him to improve upon it. We just have to give him the freedom and the time to do it. Do you wish to change his training schedule? Asked the commander. No, this has proven successful thus far. The Hokage refilled his pipe. We will maintain his current training regimen. But any additional clones you add to his training beyond this point should be added to his personal group of clones. Naruto has proven himself to be creative, so rather than guiding him down a particular path, I want him to forge his own. Let him have his own fun for now. Understood, Hokage-sama. Turning to Team Ro, Sarutobi cleared his throat. I am assigning Team Ro a long-term mission, one you all have voluntarily been doing for the past 8 years already. They stood tall and remained silent. Protect Naruto at all costs. You will still go on your missions, but when inside the village, Naruto is your main priority. Put his safety even above mine. Their eyes widened, but couldn't argue. Do not let any suspect characters around him, especially not anyone associated with Danzo or either of my old teammates. New recruits in the ANBU should be watched, even after being vetted. The Hokage sighed. Naruto is the future of Konoha, and his continuous development must be ensured. Team Ro knelt down and bowed. Hi, Hokage-sama. Hiruzen smiled softly, his eyes twinkling in joy. I have complete faith in all of you. Kakashi bowed again. We will not fail you, Hokage-sama. I assume Naruto's personal development will only be shared between people in this room from now on, asked the commander. Only his development on fuinjutsu needs to be classified for now. Feel free to allow people to find out about his ninjutsu or taijutsu. If we hide too much, people will get curious. The commander nodded along. The plan is still to promote Naruto to Genin upon his 12th birthday, but as it goes now, his skills will likely eclipse most people in the village by then. Either way, until that time, everything about Naruto's fuinjutsu is classified. Hi, Hokage-sama, replied everyone in the room. The old man turned to Tenzo. Are you the only person Naruto told about any of this? Tenzo nodded. Yes, Hokage-sama. Naruto is saving this as a surprise for the Yamanaka heiress, and has been working on it as a personal project. I have no doubt that he has yet to tell anyone about this. There may be some personal notes laying around, but all must be secure within the ANBU barracks, within his own room. Good, muttered the old man. Be sure to tell Naruto to keep everything confidential. He can't tell anyone about the inner workings of his invention. He sighed. I'm sure Naruto would tell Ino-chan about their new treehouse. But make sure he knows not to tell her anything confidential. Commander Ryu nodded. I'll make sure of it, Hokage-sama. Hiruzen chuckled to himself, shaking his head, but to think. Naruto made perhaps one of the most paradigm-shifting invention of fuinjutsu in decades, just to surprise a girl. The others all resisted a chuckle of their own, settling on smiling at the strange development. His relationship with little Ino-chan has proven to be extremely beneficial for the boy. I can't wait to see what else he comes up with, muttered Kakashi with a soft chuckle. Perhaps the girl will catch a cold and he'll revolutionize the medical field. Sarutobi chuckle, we shall see. Naruto left the ANBU barracks with a spring in his step, happily grinning as he sped off in a golden blur. Apparently, his Tenzo Nii had found his new invention to be so innovative and well-made that he told the rest of his team about it, and Kake Nii, Yugane, and Ko Nii all found it to be so worthy of praise, they told his Ji-chan about it. The boy knew he must have done a great job because otherwise, he wouldn't have to keep it a secret. His grin grew. At 8 years old, he had made his own secret jutsu. With renewed vigor, Naruto left all 73 of his personal clones to work on improving his new seals. He already had many ideas floating around in his head, but now he was given the chance to apply them to actual use. He wanted to impress his family again, so he clones had all sped off to work. He himself wanted to work, too, but there were equally important things planned for the day. Slipping through the shadows of civilians had become almost second nature to Naruto, and he made it to his usual park in less than 3 minutes. As he expected, there was hardly anyone there. It's the middle of the day on a school day, and the normally crowded park had no nosy parents wandering around the fields. Undetected, Naruto sped past the park and towards his new secret fort. At the sight of his favorite tree, Naruto smirked. It still only looked like a normal tree, his new treehouse, completely hidden from the senses. He welcomed the illusion as he walked around the tree, searching for any sort of imperfection, finding none. His new security system was working like a charm, no wonder his family liked it so much. But before he jumped up, he sensed two familiar chakra signatures close by, back in the park. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, he whispered to himself, forming two clones. He tossed them a scroll and smiled, you two know what to do. The clones nodded and jumped into the treehouse, disappearing into the illusion as soon as they approached the canopy. Naruto knew his clones would do exactly as he had planned, and turned back to the park, walking back to it in a normal civilian pace. As he neared the park, two familiar people came into view. It was Nara Shikamaru and Akimichi Choji, the heirs of the Nara and Akimichi clans and Ino's childhood friends. Looking at them now, without the pressure of any staring adults, he noticed that they looked exactly like their fathers. Naruto wondered if all sons looked so much like their fathers. He had seen many pictures of his father before, not to mention his monument on the Hokage mountain, and he looked exactly like the yondaime. It's you. Choji's voice broke Naruto from his thoughts, and he realized that he'd arrived at the park. Hi, he replied with a wave and a smile, it's nice to see you both again. Shikamaru was sitting on top of the monkey bars, his legs swinging back and forth. What are you doing here this time of day? He asked. You're skipping class, too. No, Naruto said, baffled at the concept. I'm allowed to do whatever I want on some days. Choji snacked on his bag of chips. That sounds nice, he muttered, smiling. I wish we had something like that at the academy. That does sound nice, said Shikamaru as he jumped to the ground. It sure sounds easier than sneaking away from Iruka-sensei. He leaned against the slide next to Choji, looking at Naruto. We got caught last time and had to stand in the hallway for the whole day. Naruto wondered what Commander Ryu would do to him if he tried to sneak away without permission. Dereliction in the face of duty was a serious offense and could result in hard jail time. He shivered at the thought and reminded himself to never sneak away from his lessons. You want some chips? Asked Choji, breaking Naruto's thoughts again. It's barbecue flavored. Sure, Naruto answered with a nod, thanks. Naruto munched on the chip, enjoying the new flavor, and leaned against the slide himself. It was the first time he had ever spent with boy his own age, and he was curious about how they played. He wondered if it was different from his time with Ino or with his siblings. They were also students at the academy and important clan heirs, so perhaps they'd enjoy sparring, too? So, what do you guys do here? Asked Naruto, spar or train? Shikamaru stared at him, shaking his head, no way, we do enough of that in class already. He sighed and leaned back, we just come here to hang out. I like to watch the clouds and Choji likes to eat snacks. He yawned, his hands behind his head, it's usually not that busy here on school days, so we can do whatever we want. Choji smiled, Shikamaru usually just naps on the grass. But won't you get in trouble? Asked a very confused Naruto. What happens when you go back to class tomorrow? What if your sensei tells your parents? Shikamaru shrugged, we might get scolded, but it's still better than suffering through Iruka-sensei's lectures. They're teaching us history in class today, muttered Choji, dumping the rest of his chips in his mouth. We've been going over the Warring States period for the entire day. It's only the beginning. There's at least another week to go. They even expect us to spar and have target practice after history class. Shikamaru rolled his eyes, I'm so tired after listening to the lecture, I won't have any energy for any of that. Yeah, I get it, mumbled Naruto, wondering how they were still alive, I guess. I get the feeling you've never really skipped class before. Shikamaru stared at Naruto, so what are you doing here now? Muttered Naruto, still reeling from confusion, I'm here preparing my surprise for Ino-chan. He glanced at the direction of the tree, wondering if his clones were finished. My sensei lets me explore my own interests as part of his teachings, so I'm just taking the time to finish my present. You really like Ino, huh? Asked Choji, munching on a new bag of chips. Naruto blushed a little and rubbed the back of his head, yeah, I do. Why? Asked Shikamaru, yawning again. Doesn't she try to boss you around? Huh, wondered the blonde, no, not at all. She doesn't yell at you? Asked Choji. No, never. She doesn't lecture you about everything? She doesn't punch you for eating too much? She doesn't throw stuff at you for taking a nap? Naruto stared at Shikamaru and Choji, confused. No, she's never done any of that. Imagining Ino in his mind, Naruto only saw his angel. Ino-chan is the nicest person I've ever met. She's happy and cute, and I really, really like her. The two boys just stared at him, looking slightly surprised. I can't even imagine her yelling at me, much less punch me. Shikamaru chuckled, just give her some time. The blonde wondered how he'd react if Ino tried to punch him. He knew it wouldn't hurt too much. Ino was still weak compared to his sisters. Yelling, though. If she were angry enough, Naruto could see Ino yelling at him. He'd never seen her angry before, but he wondered if it would be the same as his sister's tempers. Just run away, mumbled Choji. If she ever yells at you, just run away. She'll forget about it after a while. Okay, answered Naruto. You guys know a lot about her, don't you? Unfortunately, our families are really close and we were born in the same year. Shikamaru sighed, we were basically raised together. If she's really never yelled at you or hit you, then I wouldn't worry. We're like Ino's brothers, so she can hit and yell at us all she wants. He shook his head, if I'm right about this, you'll never have to worry about it. She'll treat you better than anybody. Really? Asked Naruto, smiling happily. You think so? Troublesome, muttered the Nara before he nodded. Yeah, girls always act all perfect and nice to the boy they like. Choji nodded, that's true, he said, finishing his second bag of chips. All the girls in class act like that in front of Sasuke. Even Ino used to act like that in front of him, but not anymore. He shrugged, I guess it's because she met you. She like you now, and not Sasuke. Sasuke, wondered Naruto, who is he? Shikamaru sighed, you don't have to worry about him. Ino doesn't like him anymore. He rested his head on the side of the slide, staring at Naruto. She spends all her time giggling to herself and gossiping with Sakura. We do have to thank you, I guess. Ever since she met you, she hasn't really yelled at us or hit us. Choji nodded as he looked up and thought, yeah, now that I think about it, has been a long time since she yelled at us. That's the one improvement about going to class, mumbled Shikamaru half asleep, at least Ino is always in a good mood. Naruto smiled at that, I wish I could go to the academy, too. Shikamaru actually stirred awake at that, oh no, you really don't. He shook his head, you're one of those cool and popular types. You'd be like Sasuke, and that's no fun at all. Choji nodded along as Naruto looked even more confused. The girls never leave him alone. They follow him everywhere. I've seen them wait for him outside the bathroom. Why? Asked the blonde, what do they do all the time? The girls, they do a lot. They ramble on about the weather being nice, or they try to offer him bento boxes they made. Before she met you, Ino used to blackmail the other girls into letting her sit next to Sasuke. Naruto didn't like the image of that, but remained silent. They go on, just trying to get him to talk to them. No matter how much he ignores them, they just keep coming. So, he doesn't talk back? Nope, added Choji, he just sits there looking angry. Well, that doesn't seem very polite. Naruto was scratching his head, wondering why he couldn't relate to any of them. That's one more reason for you to not join our class. Shikamaru shivered, you're actually nice, much nicer than Sasuke could ever be. It will make the girls try to talk to you even more. You'll never have any alone time and they'll basically stalk your whole life. Naruto frowned, yeah, I guess that would be pretty annoying. Ino might protect you from them, the Nara added, giving Naruto hope, but even so, I'm not sure if she could keep you safe all the time. Ami and her friends are vicious, and I don't think even Ino could fend them off every day. He nodded, turning to Naruto, yeah, it's best you not join our class. It's better for you to just hang out with Ino after class. Choji nodded, yes, it's much easier this way. I guess so. Naruto shrugged, chuckling, this Sasuke person, he started, curious, Ino-chan used to like him? Were they friends at all? Or did he ignore her, too? Shikamaru smirked, I said you don't have to worry about him anymore. He basically ignored her for the past few years, and Ino doesn't even glance at him anymore. What's this guy's deal? Asked Naruto, does he just ignore everyone? Does he have any friends? None that we've ever seen, answered Choji. He just sits by himself in the corner. He's smart, though, and he's the top of the class. He's never lost a spar in our class before. He's one of those strong and silent types, added Shikamaru. We've never hung out with him. I don't think I've even heard him speak more than a few sentences ever since we joined the academy. That's weird, answered Naruto. That is weird, right? Yes, it is. Choji nodded, but it's understandable. I would act a little weird too if my clan was wiped out like that. Naruto's eyes widened. What? Shikamaru sighed. His name is Uchiha Sasuke. He's the last surviving Uchiha after the massacre. Oh. Uchiha Sasuke, now Naruto remembered. He had heard that name before in passing, a few years ago now. Back when Shursui Nii was still alive and before Uchiha Itachi had betrayed the village and wiped out one of the founding clans of Konoha. Itachi Nii, Naruto had called the traitor. He was a part of Team Ro, under the leadership of Kaka Nii. Naruto remembered looking up to his newest brother at the time, being so strong but also so young. Itachi had mentioned something about a brother, telling Naruto that he reminded him of his little brother, who was the same age as Naruto. The thought of Itachi hurt Naruto. He had been so kind and nice. The Uchiha ANBU had taught Naruto how to properly throw shuriken and kunai when everyone else thought he was too young to learn. Itachi would smile and hug Naruto like the rest of his brothers when they returned home from missions. And more than once had Naruto rode on Itachi's shoulders around the barracks, he could still remember his sisters teasing Itachi about it. Rubbing his forehead, Naruto could still feel Itachi poking it, smiling at him kindly, telling him to train hard and study well. That was the night of the massacre, and Naruto never saw his Itachi Nii again. He was now a traitor of Konoha, and Naruto was angry at himself for still missing him. I see, whispered Naruto, he's the last Uchiha. Yep, came the voice of Shikamaru. It's crazy to think that something like that could actually happen. I guess I forget about it sometimes. It's hard to believe that someone our age has gone through something like that. He shrugged. There's no way I can understand what he's going through, so it's better to leave him alone. I'm sure he has his own way to dealing with it. Naruto nodded. Yeah, I agree. I'm hungry, came the voice of Choji, making Naruto turn to him surprised. Let's go get some ramen. Gee, you just ate like 3 bags of chips. Shikamaru crossed his arms, and we're gonna have dinner in a few hours. But I'm craving ramen. Ramen, muttered Naruto in wonder. I've heard about it before, but I've never tried it. Choji gasped, you have to try it. It's one of the best things ever. Naruto shrugged, I have time now. Shikamaru sighed, troublesome. Walking through the village in broad daylight was a new experience for Naruto. He had always slipped through the shadows of civilians, walking through their blind spots. Walking next to them through the busy streets was a completely different experience. Without needing to focus on his position in the shadows, he noticed for the first time the variety of stores and shops around him. There were so many different stores all selling different things he had never seen before. Even the adults they passed looked at him curiously, perhaps seeing his odd excitement or curiosity, but perhaps not. They were looking at him in awe, or maybe surprised, as if they saw a ghost. Someone even bowed to him for some reason. Perhaps they were one of those drunks his sisters warned him about. He largely ignored them, opting to glance at the stores, wondering if he could stumble upon the Yamanaka flower shop, but unfortunately, they never walked past it. Here we are. Choji gave a large smile as he ran into a small ramen stand. Ichiraka ramen. The best ramen in all of Konoha. Hehe, thank you for the compliment, Choji-kun. Naruto walked in and saw an old man smiling at Choji, but he was immediately distracted by the heaven smell that invaded his senses. Mindlessly, he took a seat next to Choji as Shikamaru took the seat next to him. It was an aroma unlike anything else, and it made his mouth water. One large miso ramen, cried Choji. The old man laughed, you got it, young man. What about your free dash? He stopped talking the moment he laid eyes on Naruto, making the 3 boys confused. It was another one of those looks of shock and awe, an unwavering stare. Naruto stared back at the man, offering a smile, and it seemed to break him from a stupor. I am sorry about that. You just remind me of an old friend of mine. Really? Asked Naruto. That's cool. What would you like? Asked the owner. I'll have the same as Choji, please. Naruto grinned and the man's jaw slackened. I've never had ramen before, but I trust Choji's tastes. Shikamaru sighed, I'll have the same. The man nodded weakly, okay, coming right up. It did not take long for the ramen to arrive, and Naruto knew he was staring at something special. Following Choji's example, he first took a sip of the soup. It was as if his tongue was blessed with heaven's spring, his body shivering in delight. Then came the first slurp of noodles, the ever bouncy and perfect noodles, so rich in flavor that it nearly overloaded his senses. Then came the second slurp, then the third, then the fourth. Then there was no more. He needed more. Another bowl, please. The old man was smiling at him now, Yosh. Coming right up. Choji laughed, you're even faster than me. This is amazing. Naruto drank the rest of the soup, I've never had anything this good. I know, right? Choji grinned, I knew you were cool, Naruto. Shikamaru sighed as he slowly slurped his own noodles, great, a troublesome blonde who eats like Choji. Please enjoy, exclaimed the chef as he placed the bowl before Naruto. Thank you for the food. Once again, he slurped, each slurp a slice of heaven in his mouth. Every bite was filled with flavor, each chew was bouncy and satisfying, and it warmed his soul. The egg, the oh so wonderful egg. Perfectly cooked on the outside, protecting the perfectly soft and creamy yolk in the middle, mixing ever so slightly with the broth. This bowl was a work of art, and Naruto felt himself become addicted to it. This is just one type of broth, Naruto. Naruto's eyes widened at Choji's words, there are still so many different kinds you haven't tried. There are so many different broths, toppings, and even spice levels. He smirked, you've started a journey of discovery today, my friend. I'll show you the rest of the way. The blonde placed a hand on Choji's shoulder, thank you, Choji. Tuchiyasan, cried the Akimichi heir, 2 bowls of tonkatsu ramen for me and my friend here. Coming right up. Guys, dinner is just a couple of hours away, reminded Shikamaru, who had finished his 1 bowl. Never mind dinner, muttered Naruto, not even my sister's cooking is as good as this. There is no way I can leave without trying at least 1 more bowl. Oh, if only we met earlier, Naruto. Choji slurped and finished his current bowl, I could have shown you this much sooner. Naruto grinned, it's okay, Choji. We can make up for lost time with even more ramen. Order up. Whoa, exclaimed Naruto, this looks amazing. The broth had depth and layers, and Naruto delighted in tasting his way to the bottom. It was a journey of the senses, a tickling delight that sent shivers down his spine. The perfect noodles soaking in the broth achieved an ascendance of power, completely overwhelming Naruto with their flavor. Then came the pork, fried to crispy perfection, juicy and fatty, accompanied by the delightfully tart pickled onions, perfectly balancing the bowl. It was another piece of art that Naruto savored. You two can't seriously still be hungry, muttered Shikamaru, I'm full just watching the 2 of you. How can you be so calm about this? Asked Naruto, this is amazing. Shikamaru rolled his eyes as Choji shook his head, pay him no attention, Naruto. Shikamaru has no taste whatsoever in the culinary arts. Don't let his drab, low expectation mouth drag us down. Let us continue to sample Tuchi-san's wonderful work. Naruto salivated, what should we try next? Choji, Shikamaru. A loud yell tore through the delightful mood and Naruto saw a man stare down at them. He was wearing a standard Chunin uniform and a Konoha headband, standing out only by the scar that ran across the bridge of his nose. But he looked angry, veins popping around his face, glaring down at his new friends. Iruka-sensei, muttered Choji as Shikamaru just sighed and shook his head. I told you we should have left half an hour ago. You two have some nerve, cried the Chunin, skipping class in the middle of the day. Do you know how much you've missed? Everything I taught today will be on next week's test. No faking sick this time, boys. You're staying after class tomorrow to learn everything you missed today. If you miss any more class time, I will drag you to your parents. Choji trembled, okay, sensei. Shikamaru groaned, troublesome. Wait, muttered Naruto, drawing the attention of his friends and their teacher. Since your sensei is here, does that mean class is over? Yeah, I guess, answered Shikamaru. Choji nodded. Yep, it's been over for about 15 minutes already. No, yelled Naruto as he looked up, shocking his new friends. I'm late. Shikamaru grimaced at the volume. For what? Ino-chan. Naruto slammed down a pile of money, enough to cover for everyone. I was going to surprise her at the academy. I still have to show her my present. Wiping his mouth clean and fixing his hair, he jumped off the stool. Sorry guys, but I'll see you both later. I need to go find Ino-chan. Okay, bye-bye, Naruto. Choji grinned. Come hang out with us again soon. Shikamaru waved. Yeah, and don't let Ino boss you around. Naruto grinned back. This was really fun. See you later. Boys, started Iruka-sensei. Who was that? That was Naruto, said Choji. He's our new friend. He's Ino's boyfriend, added Shikamaru, ignoring his teacher's widened eyes. He looked in the direction Naruto ran off, seeing only a trail of dust. And he's already whipped. I really don't get it. This was all for now. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked it and that you will be back for more. Please like, share and subscribe. See ya.